Smackdown, Tuesday, July 2nd, 2019. Booked, played out. Now we're going to talk about it. There was good and bad to come from Smackdown Live last night, and we're going to get to that order of business in just a minute. The first order of business I'd like to get to, and may I just say it's already super hot up in here, so you can already tell it's going to be an amplified half an hour. We can already tell that the summer is already heating up, so it's going to be one hell of an amplified summer, and we're just getting started. But the first order of business is to remind you guys that streaming tomorrow on Netflix, finally, after 167 years of waiting, finally, Netflix is pumping out Season 3 of Stranger Things. If you've never seen Stranger Things, you don't know what I'm talking about, maybe you don't have Netflix. What? Have you been living underneath a rock? Go get Netflix and start binge watching Stranger Things. I don't care where or how you get the money, but you... Okay, I do care. Don't do anything criminally stupid. But if possible, get the money, get Netflix, and get to work. Start binge watching Season 1 and Season 2 of Stranger Things. Don't thank me now. You can thank me later. Just start getting to work because you want to be caught up tomorrow when Netflix pumps out Season 3. So get to work. You will love me forever if you don't already once you see this series. I have to plug this show because this is one of the only shows out there that captivates the amplified man's attention, that captivates the amplified man's entertainment needs. Because I sure as hell can't count on Vince McMahon or the WWE to do such, not in the last 5 to 10 years, not with Raw, not with Smackdown Live, not with anything they produce. Stranger Things is really it. So that's why I love to talk about shows that I'm enthusiastic about, that I love, that entertain me, that captivate me. On to the business at hand. We do have to talk Smackdown Live, though. I go from something I'm really excited about into redundancy. Something I want to be excited about. Something I want to captivate me, and I've wanted to for so long. And it just refuses to do such. Did it last night? We're going to talk about it. But first, I want to talk about the aforementioned good and bad from Smackdown. And it's not necessarily from the show itself. You see, the good that I'm talking about is that I actually do believe that change is a-coming. That change is on the horizon. With somebody like Paul Heyman, who has always gone tooth and nail, toe-to-toe with Vince McMahon, two stubborn egos colliding, he has always done such. He doesn't need this job at this stage in his life, so you know, being a smart man like Paul Heyman is, he's got some creative freedom in that contract. There's something we don't know about. How much, we don't know, because Paul Heyman does have to answer to one man, and that one man is Vincent Kennedy McMahon. So how much change, how big of a change, we don't know. Is it going to be massive change? I wouldn't hold your breath. But minuscule change? Hey, baby steps. We'll take it at first. And it's the same with Eric Bischoff and SmackDown. Bischoff at this stage in his life, he doesn't need this. He was perfectly content staying in his quiet little ranch setting and living in obscurity. He loves that. So, you know, in his contract, he's got some type of freedom in there to do what he pleases to a point. I honestly believe, guys, change is a-coming, and it could be as soon as right after Extreme Rules. How big of change, again, remains to be seen. Vincent Kennedy McMahon is still overseeing it all. But I really do feel something is in the air. Something is going to be changing. And it could be as soon as after Extreme Rules. I just don't know the extent of the change. Is it going to be massive or is it going to be minuscule? Maybe the minuscule will lead to massive down the line. Either way, you only have a few months to get it right because AEW is coming in October. And then all bets are off. That's the good. That's the good. I do see change coming. The bad news is, it sure as hell wasn't last night. Last night was the same old, same old. Did it have some bright points? Did it have some good shit? Or Or was it all just a train wreck? Well, let's talk about that now together. Let's jump into it head first, like I usually do into cement walls after seeing WWE television, but let's see if this one actually gave us something of substance. So we start off with Kevin Owens' show, and this is with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. Owens pisses off Shane McMahon to the point where Drew McIntyre has to step up and say, interview over, that's enough. Dolph Ziggler then comes out just as Drew and Owens are about to come to blows, and Owens is flipping out. Owens, what is it, Wolverine? He had some amplified size coffees or some shit before this segment. Kevin Owens was double fisting some Starbucks amplified size coffees because he was on his A game, flipping out. Before Dolph could even get a word out, Kevin Owens is screaming, no, we're not gonna do this. Here we go again. You were supposed to be you, but it wasn't. Then it nearly was, but it wasn't. Then you went away, you came back, it almost was again, but it wasn't. Enough! And Owens is flipping out on Dolph. Dolph is finally saying, you know what? At least I look the part. You look like you should be entering a hot dog eating contest. Kevin Owens responds with, at least I would win the hot dog eating contest, unlike you trying to win wrestling matches. So I was enjoying this little back and forth. Shit, at that point, you can clear the ring with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. Just give me 10 minutes of Dolph and Kevin Owens going at it on the mic. Because I was fully enjoying that. And then Shane had to ruin it, and he makes some weird tag team match for the main event later in the night. Dolph Ziggler and Owens, that were just bickering, now they have to be a tag team, and they're going to take on Heavy Machinery. But if Owens and Ziggler can win that match, they will be added to the Extreme Rules tag team match between Daniel Bryan and Rowan and Heavy Machinery. So hopefully you guys are keeping track. So that was the whole first segment, just to get us to a weird main event match later in the night. That I ain't gonna lie to you guys, at the jump, I was not interested in that main event at all. But when it was all said and done, it was actually entertaining. We'll get to that in just a little bit. The next segment was Daniel Bryan versus Big E. Minor interference with Rowan and Xavier, but nothing too big. Daniel Bryan just takes the W and Big E eats the L. Didn't need to see this shit just to set up for some weird fucking tag team match going forward. I don't know. These type of matches, it's just, why? Why would you have Big E taken out? Big E, I've been saying for so long, he deserves his own singles push. He deserves to have titles right now. And he's just, and Daniel Bryan cannot lose either. Trust me, I was just going through that last week about Daniel Bryan losing all the time. So my point is, why even have them in there together? That's why we have jobber matches. So your superstars aren't becoming the jobbers. You have to treat your superstars like, here's a concept, superstars. In 5 minutes, Big E is just taking a fucking L. Now, if Daniel Bryan took the L, I would be flipping out even more. Because that would mean Daniel Bryan's literally losing every single one of his matches. And that's with a championship around him. I just don't like two superstars in there in a nonsensical match that only takes about 5 or 6 minutes. And it's purposeless. Is that a word, purposeless? It's got no fucking purpose. How's that? And you see a guy like Big E just fucking losing. I can't stand that. So this match did nothing for me. We go backstage. R-Truth vows to get his baby back. What he calls the 7-Eleven European Television Intercontinental Championship. Also backstage, Alexa Bliss tells Nikki Cross she can host a Moment of Bliss tonight. And Nikki Cross is like, oh, I don't know. Do you really think I'll be great? I can do it. Thank you so much, Alexa. Thank you, Alexa. And Alexa just lets her. So that's fucking a nice moment for Nikki. But this just leads to, after a commercial break, of course, this leads to Nikki Cross actually hosting a Moment of Bliss. But it was all for nothing. She introduces Bayley as the guest. And literally within 2 minutes, Nikki Cross is just challenging Bayley to a match. They recycled the same segment from 24 hours earlier on Monday Night Raw when Carmella just came out intruded, I guess you could say, interrupted, better word, interrupted a moment of bliss, and Carmella's just like, I challenge you, Alexa. And they leave the moment of bliss stage, and they go to the ring. Same thing happened 24 hours later for this SmackDown. Nikki Cross just gets out of her seat and says, I challenge you to a match. So Nikki and Bayley are now in a match. Did we need the moment of bliss then? Was that really worth it? Did that do anything? Did anyone seriously, was anyone like, wow, Nikki and Bayley, this is actually happening right now. This is gonna be insane. You're calling up your friends, you're not gonna believe what happened. Bayley was a guest on Moment of Bliss, and Nikki challenged her. Oh wow, BC, kind of like Carmella did the night before on Monday Night Raw, right? She came out in a Moment of Bliss and challenged Alexa. Yes, but it's a different show, so it's cool. Come on, bro. That's the creative stifleness that I'm talking about. That's the shit that has to change. If you saw that shit on Monday night, why would you write basically the same shit Tuesday night? Oh, man. Bayley defeats Cross in like 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Nikki Cross. Same thing as Big E. Why is Nikki Cross just... Why was this needed? This is why we need jobber matches. So you can protect your superstars. Your superstars should not be your jobbers. Am I getting through? That was hour number 1. That was legit hour number 1, guys. So many fucking notes here. Hour number 2 starts off with Ali. Ali's cutting a vignette-style promo. And at first I wanted to say this is fucking corny. But in all actuality, I liked it. He showed some attitude, some energy. There was an edge to him. He wasn't just another dude. You know, we can only have so many smaller dudes that can do really cool flips and dives. But if you can have a character that we're going to remember, that we actually want to see, that's actually somewhat interesting, that is an edge that I like to see. That is a character that I will welcome with open arms. So it's interesting to see where they go next with this Ali character, but he definitely looks like he has much more of an edge than when we last saw him. Coming back from this injury, we'll see. There was a face-to-face up next with Kofi Kingston and Samoa Joe. We know Joe is phenomenal on the mic and more than believable. But Kofi is also good on the mic and also believable. You know, we just have to have him put down the fucking pancakes and separate from Big E and Xavier. And once he puts down the pancakes and separates from Big E and Xavier, this guy can be taken seriously. And when Kofi is taken seriously, Kofi can be badass. We know he can go in the ring. He's really good on the mic. He's a worthy champion. He just won the championship and they just threw him, chucking pancakes into the crowd, and they threw him as just 1/3 of the New Day again. 6-man tags galore, no real big fucking matches since he's won the championship, other than a feud with Dolph Ziggler who came out of nowhere, and that's what I mean. Book him correctly, Kofi could be a good champion. Anyway, Joe wants Kofi to shake his hand in a show of good faith. And Kofi is hesitant, but shakes it cautiously anyway. Joe goes to make a move, but Kofi, his brother Kofi and Kofi is able to strike first with Trouble in Paradise. Knocks Samoa Joe, I mean, more than flat on his ass. Samoa Joe was like knocked out. I hate to see Joe book like that, but it was a pretty cool spot, man. And again, he's your champion, so it's believable. So Joe got flatlined by Kofi Kingston, man, and this will lead into their Extreme Rules match. Joe looking kind of weak there. So did Vince change his mind? Is Joe gonna get the championship? I said just last week, in my most recent videos, I've been telling you guys, there's no way Joe is getting that title. Or is he? You never know with Vince, man. He changes his mind 67 times an hour. And there's only 60 minutes in an hour, so do the math. So we'll see, man. I don't know. I did like that segment, though, man. Again, on the mic, back and forth was cool, and I like the little altercation there. Up next is Andrade and Apollo. This was a 9:21 start time, 9:27 finish. It was only 6 minutes long. And that's a shame because I wouldn't have minded more time with these two because I actually enjoyed it. I know. Andrade, you're probably not surprised, but Apollo has been in obscurity since, basically just like EmberMoon. They've been in obscurity since they got to the main roster. And that's a shame. But Apollo and Andrade last night, I was digging it, man. I truly was. And Zelina gets involved a little bit, right? She had what I still call the, well, I still call it the Frankensteiner. But Zelina has so much fucking whip with it. She did that to the outside to Apollo. The Frankensteiner totally whips Apollo into the broadcast table. The referee never saw it. So Apollo gets back in the ring, and this was easy pickings for Andrade. Andrade picks up the W over Apollo. I get it. It's the right decision because those two were in the ring. Again, my problem with this is I wouldn't have had them in the ring. Just have a jobber match with Andrade. You're not losing anything. BC, they're going to lose viewers because people won't be interested. I guarantee you guys, people will be as interested, maybe even more so. Because you do have a 5'7", 140-pound soaking wet dude in there that they've never seen, and they know this guy's going to get crushed. That's more fun than just seeing Apollo and Andrade because you know Vince McMahon is not going to give Apollo a fucking victory. So these jobber matches can be fun, and you see one person totally dominate another, and again, it's only going to take them 3 or 4 minutes. It's the same amount of time that they're giving superstar versus superstar. They're giving superstar versus superstar matches 5 minutes if they're lucky. A lot of these matches were 3 and 4 minutes. So you lose nothing with a jobber match other than the one thing you gain, which is you get to keep superstars as such. They get to keep some dignity, some pride. Up next, backstage, we got Aleister Black. He issues a challenge for Extreme Rules for whoever knocked on the door last week. Correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't this just one incident where somebody knocked on the door and when he went to open it, nobody was even there? And he's already challenging that person like they're coming for him? How do you know it wasn't the Uber Eats guy? Right? Somebody ordered a fucking pizza. It's the Domino's. It's Lenny from Domino's and he got the wrong fucking locker room. Right? Who knows where Aleister even is? He's in the fucking janitor's closet, it looks like. So you got Lenny from Domino's or fucking Joey from Uber Eats. They're fucking knocking on every door. Aleister gets up, nobody's there. Lenny from Domino's has already fucking gone to Braun Strowman in his locker room. Joey from Uber Eats already went to fucking but Bayley's locker room. Alexa Bliss's. Uber Eats is bringing over fucking Starbucks catering for everybody. They accidentally knocked on Aleister Black's janitor's door. Who cares? It was one fucking knock. And you're already fucking making a big deal out of the one fucking knock. This is what I mean about not giving it enough time. BC, you're hung up on the one knock. Yes, I am. You should have had this drawn out over several weeks. Otherwise, in my mind, it is Lenny from Domino's. It is Joey from Uber Eats. And they knocked on the wrong door. Up next, here's EmberMoon getting some TV time again. 2nd week in a row. If it's anything like last week, I'm fucking throwing myself up a 10-story stairwell. Head first. EmberMoon losing in like a fucking 10 seconds last week. Some shit, man. EmberMoon is in there this week with Sonya Deville's counterpart, Mandy Rose. The good news here, Ember wins. This was a start time of 9:35, a finish time of 9:38. This was only a 3-minute match. But again, the good news, Ember actually got the victory. So we can all take a deep breath. Because you know, you're with me. We all had moments in this 3-minute match, basically the whole 3 minutes, where we all collectively felt that Vince was going to have Mandy Rose pull out another victory over Ember. And Ember would take another loss, I should say. I once had somebody say, literally, this was recently, maybe, I think it was the last Tuesday SmackDown video where I went on an epic rant over EmberMoon and how Vince is not utilizing Ember, Naomi, Sasha's not even in the fucking company because Vince hasn't utilized her. Everyone's pissed off. And I went on that epic rant. So I had somebody say this. This is a true quote. BC, I just don't see anything special in EmberMoon. Yeah, buddy. Okay, bud. You just look at that 3-minute match, just a 3-minute match, and you will be shown that EmberMoon is better than 90% of that division. She showed you in 3 minutes that she's better than 90% of that division. That's how good EmberMoon is. Do you still not see anything in EmberMoon? Because if that's the case, you don't see anything in any women's wrestler. That's not even preference. You can like somebody more than the other. You can say Charlotte's better. I love Charlotte more. You can say Sasha's better. I love Sasha more. You guys know I love Sasha. You could say Naomi's better. You could say Tessa Blanchard's better. You could say Toni Storm because you love Toni Storm better. You could say Asuka, Kairi. I can go on and on. You're not going to tell me you don't see anything in Ember. She's one of the best pro wrestlers in the world today for the female divisions across the world. We then go into the main event. This was Owens and Ziggler versus Heavy Machinery. If Owens and Ziggler win this match, they are added to the Extreme Rules Tag Team Championship match for the SmackDown titles, and it'll become a triple threat. Again, at the beginning of the night when this match was announced, I could not care less for this thing. But when it was all said and done, I didn't mind it. It was actually entertaining. They had to come out with some creative way to go to commercial, obviously, once this match started, so they can reset it. So they did that by having Daniel Bryan on the mic on commentary. The New Day had their little pancake commentary booth. And basically Xavier and Daniel Bryan were just going at each other. Daniel Bryan was ruthless when he was attacking Xavier Woods verbally. And Daniel Bryan was saying, when have you guys ever main evented? When have you even wanted to? Basically calling out their desire to even main event. And Xavier's like, we've main evented SmackDown before. And Daniel Bryan's like, I'm talking pay-per-views, buddy. Not SmackDowns. And Xavier really didn't have an answer. So Daniel Bryan was going at Xavier and the New Day. And eventually, Rowan and Daniel Bryan got in an altercation with the New Day at the broadcast table. This led us to commercial. And when we came back, of course, Tom Phillips was like, we had to reset the match. So they basically just started over. I cannot stand this no wrestling during commercials bullshit. There is no flow or rhythm anymore. Everything just has to be reset every 4 minutes because every 4 minutes we need a commercial. But D-Bry on commentary was the best part of that whole first part of the segment. When they came back from commercial, it was a pretty decent match coming back from it. Again, if they just had flow and rhythm and there wasn't all this resetting commercial bullshit, probably would have been even better. But Heavy Machinery is showing you that they're taking the ball and they're jogging with it. Normally I'd say running with it. They're not quite running with it. I mean, it is Otis. But they're jogging with it. You know what I mean? They're not stopping. I'm liking what I'm seeing there. And it looks like Vince is giving them a little bit of a push. Good to see, man. When this was all done, what do they call it? The compactor? It's a pretty cool move, man, where Otis gets the splash first and then you got it's a double splash. And they got the W on this thing, man. Owens and Ziggler got pinned. And by the way, to set up the compactor, Ziggler accidentally super kicked Kevin Owens. So Owens pretty much just got destroyed after that. So Heavy Machinery wins the match. Post-match, Ziggler tries picking up Owens, and Owens ain't having none of it. He gives him a stunner, a stone-cold stunner, or a KO stunner now you can call it. And the crowd's loving it. They're yelling one more time. It looks like Owens is going to give Ziggler it one more time, but we fade to black first. Vince McMahon ran out of time. Kevin Dunn had to pull the plug, and SmackDown went off the air. But after KO, I almost said Stone Cold, after KO gave the stunner to Ziggler, he started flipping out, man. He was energized last night. There's this new fire in Kevin Owens. And can we just discuss, too, it's the elephant in the room, but we have to talk about it. How did Kevin Owens just become a face last night? Because At the beginning of the night during the KO show, he was playing the role of a face and kind of throwing jabs at Shane McMahon and Drew and kind of hitting hard on Dolph Ziggler. And then at the end of the night, he really was playing the role of face when he stunnered Dolph Ziggler. But all of this just happened like that, man. Nothing was... Again, those are the logic gaps that Vince McMahon likes to throw at us just to see if we catch it. And here I am, right? I have the horrible, what do you call it? I unfortunately have this special power that I have logic and common sense. I know, it's a crazy concept, but I have those things. And I have this weird way to call out bullshit. I hate it, damn it, sometimes. I hate it watching WWE because you have to put your logic and your common sense and you have to put your bullshit meter and you have to put it all aside. And you have to take what Vince has given you. Heel one week, face the next week. Heel one week, face the next week. Just like Kane, just like The Big Show, just like Braun Strowman was. I can go on and on. Nia Jax. But anyway, I had to address that. I thought that was funny because the last several weeks, really since he's been back, Kevin Owens has been a heel. Last night, he was just playing the role of face from top to bottom, and it looks like they're going to roll with him a little bit as the face. Maybe the Stone Cold Stunner is making Vince McMahon remember that Stone Cold Stunners really work. That'll get over. The move alone will remind people of Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't know. But I do like the fact that KO was energized last night, and that's how he faded to black. So the main event could have been a lot worse. When I saw it on paper and I thought about it, I was like, fuck, this is what you have to keep people interested for 2 hours? You're going to make people stick around for 2 hours for a heavy machinery Dolph Ziggler Kevin Owens match. But it was decent. I didn't mind the match. As a whole, SmackDown Live was not a train wreck, but it was really close to being that bad. One little thing to the left, and I'm telling you right now, I would have called this a train wreck because I just wasn't having any mulligans. I wasn't giving anyone mulligans last night for that show. In other words, if EmberMoon lost, for instance, that one thing would have made this show a train wreck, and I would have been a lot more heated than I am now because this show needs to get its groove back. It needs to get rhythm. It needs to have a flow. Things need to make sense. And I'm hoping, I really do believe, and hopefully as soon as after Extreme Rules, we're gonna start to see some change. I really do believe that. What's the level of it? I don't know. Huge change? Don't hold your breath. Minuscule? Hey, baby steps. Let's get it going. That was SmackDown Live last night, guys. That's all we gotta say. There'll be an impromptu video, obviously, this week. The podcast later in the week. Maybe a couple of impromptu videos. I'm feeling on a roll this week, just like I have been. So let's just fucking rock it out. Maybe I'll have an impromptu video later tonight. You never know. Stay subscribed. Smash the notification bell. Always be united with the Emperor. The Emperor. The Amplified Man. Give it to him, baby. Give it to him, baby. For now, we'll check you. Hold up, guys. Not so fast. This is a little bit of a post-review add-on, if you will. One last subject I did want to touch on that just came to light once I finished the review, and that's these rumors and reports going around that Corey Graves was fined by WWE, fined by Vince McMahon for saying holy shit at the beginning of Monday Night Raw when Braun Strowman took Bobby Lashley through the LED staging board. Guys, that is absolute bullshit. That is a gimmick fine. There is no way Vince McMahon did not know about it, A. B, more importantly, there's no way Vince McMahon did not plant that into Corey Graves' dome piece, plant that into Corey Graves' ear, that's what he was supposed to say. There's no way Vince McMahon did not put Corey Graves up to that. There's no way Corey Graves just shouts out, holy shit, and it gets past the 7-second delay. Because there is a delay. That's what live television has. It's a delay button, and when somebody says something they shouldn't, it will not make air. Once in a blue moon, something might slip, but there's no way Corey Graves let out a holy shit, and then he remained on the show the rest of the way. And afterwards, he took to social media and made a joke about it and said how he should probably start a GoFundMe page in case he gets fined. I'm not buying into it. There's no fucking way possible Vince McMahon let that go. Let Corey Graves stay on air. And then let him go on social media and joke about it. Let him back on SmackDown Live. When you say holy shit, that is something that Vince McMahon worked out with the USA Network in advance. I assure you. Otherwise, we would not be talking about Corey Graves being fined right now. We would be talking about Vince McMahon in the WWE being fined. Them being in trouble with USA. There's no stories about that for good reason. This was all supposed to happen. So I hope that X-nays that whole discussion, guys, because I'm really starting to hear a lot about that. Once I finish the SmackDown review video, I really started to see a lot of stories about it, and this is kind of getting out of control. Anybody who thinks that was not planned, you just don't know the business. Hopefully that helps. I'm the Amplified Man. Check you.